This is the Student Leadership News Podcast.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Student Leadership News Podcast. My name is Emily. I'm super excited to be here with you today from wherever you're listening from. And with me is Ronan. Hey, Rones, how are you going?
I'm very good, Emily. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Now, we're here today in Rockhampton and we've just finished running one of the primary GRIP student leadership conferences. Yep, great day. Wondering, Rones, what is your what has been your favourite part of the day?
Okay, in particular today, there was a getting to know you activity that happened this morning where there were 250 students walking around the room doing an activity in their booklet, but there was one young girl that I saw right on the corner of the room who took herself off to a little space on her own and then put her booklet up over her face and was just kind of looking over the top because she didn't want to participate, was kind of quite anxious about it, I expected. So I sort of pointed that out to one of our team members who then went over and had a chat to her and said, look, if you're really uncomfortable, come and sit down. That's okay. You don't need to be stressed by it. And then later in the day, I saw that same girl writing a number of answers in her book and I said to her, would you come on stage and read that out for everybody? And I thought, she's going to say no to that. But something in me thought, let's ask her anyway. And she said, yeah, she'd do it. And then you don't know that, but that's what it took. And then I brought her up to the stage to you and you interviewed her.
Wow, that's so cool. I literally had
Vanessa.
no idea that was the backstory. Awesome. Yeah, Vanessa. That's hilarious because my favourite part of the day was having Vanessa on stage asking her about what she'd planned for leadership for the year based on the content that had been taught. And something she said she wanted to work on for herself was having confidence with humility, something we talk about throughout the day. And we asked how they can do it practically. And she said by doing more public speaking. And I was like, wow, she's doing that right now. She's already acting on it. She's taking a step in leadership. Lovely young primary school girl. And she's up here showing confidence in what she was doing at the time. Super cool to see leadership in action like that.
6 hours before, she was the girl who was sitting behind a booklet and wouldn't talk to an individual, let alone stand on stage in front of 250. So there you go. Without us even knowing, highlight of the day lined up.
So cool. That's awesome. All right, we are going to jump into our first segment now.
BLT, Best Leadership Tip.
Okay, this segment, BLT, it's at risk of being talked all about food because of the bacon, lettuce, tomato reference, but we'll keep it on track and we'll talk about best leadership tips. So can you share something with our audience, Emily, something from everything you've noticed lately that you think is important for student leaders to take on board? What's that tip?
So I think that so often students are thinking about ways they can contribute to a cause or impact society. And my best leadership tip is to make sure you concentrate and really focus in on that cause that you've chosen.
Because there are so many causes out there, right?
Yep, so many great causes. I know when I was at school, we had to pick a cause to focus on for the whole year. We picked an awesome cause. We picked, chose to support this organisation called Global Arms. It was awesome. It had a real connection to our school. A group of students had been over to Thailand the year before and had the opportunity to meet two Australian women who had started this organisation teaching self-defence to those who were at risk of violence. So throughout the year we wanted to support and raise money for Global Arms. And we were great. We started off really well with raising this money, but throughout the year we got really distracted.
So distracted in what way?
So different causes or events that were being talked about heaps in the media or what people were talking about at school. And we were like, oh no, let's hold a fundraiser for this or let's participate in this event. And our efforts kind of just kept being split in all these different directions.
So there you go. Good tip. Stay focused.
Yep.
Instead of trying to do a little bit of help for a lot of people, continually being focused, concentrating, and make a significant difference on one thing.
Yep.
Good. Fantastic. Very good. Great leadership tip. Hopefully student leaders who are hearing that and thinking, uh-oh, we've made the mistake, might perhaps sort of focus in a little bit. So excellent. Let's get into our next segment.
My favourite idea.
All right, so my favourite idea here at Student Leadership News, we are obviously hearing great ideas all the time about what's going on with leaders and schools. But Ronan, I want to know, what is one favourite idea that you have heard lately?
Okay, One of our team wrote an article recently on studentleadership.news about this, and when I saw the article go up, I thought, that is a ripper. That's fantastic. It was a girl named Bella Simmons. She was a Year 11 student, I believe, and she did a mural, a very large mural, wonderful, colourful scene on the side of a school building, and included the text in there, "We care," those important 2 words that the school was looking to focus on and that student leaders were looking to focus on, "We care." And what I like about it is not just making something look pretty for the sake of it, although, that's good and that gets the message across. What I really like about it, the reason it's my favourite idea, it's a visual way of allowing people to see a leader or a team of leaders being active and doing something. So instead of being leaders saying, "Oh, we're working behind the scenes on things," or there's some things in the pipelines that later in the year we're going to introduce, you got something massive and visual like a mural. Everybody knows that the student leaders are active, okay, because it's large, colourful, and there for everybody to see. So I encourage all student leaders, if it's not that idea with a mural, think of ways you do something that's big and colourful in the school so that people can see student leaders are active and involved. But well done to Bella. So if there's anyone listening to this that wants to see what that mural is, go to our social media for Student Leadership News or online for the article. You'll see the photo there as well. That was my favourite idea from lately.
Yeah, super cool. That's a great idea. All right, we will head straight into our next segment.
Question time.
Okay, this segment, Question Time, this is where we throw you right under the spotlight, Emily, and you're going to answer the question. It's been asked of us from Hayley at Gracemere State School, which is a school in Queensland, Australia. And her question for you to answer: how do you deal with stage fright when public speaking?
All right, stage fright when public speaking. I will give 2 tips. The first one is practice, practice, practice as much as you can by yourself in front of other people and get feedback from that as well. Now, not only will it make you actually better at the public speaking, but it'll help you to just be more confident within yourself and to think, hey, I actually do know what I'm doing and do know what I'm talking about.
And you know what, if you're going to practice, record it, listen back to it. Everyone I know says it's so weird listening to yourself when you listen back to, and that's good because you're going to be a harsh critic of yourself and you're going to be able to improve based on what you've just heard. So listen back. If you're going to record it, rehearse anyway, practice, record it. Why not? Anyway, you're going to say it more?
And part 2 is to take any opportunity you can to public speak. Like literally, whether it's you're working on a school assignment in a small group, be the person who has the confidence to suggest their ideas. Maybe you're at a friend's birthday party, be the person who gives the toast and says something nice. Every small opportunity you take to public speak is going to make the big opportunities so much easier for you and less frightening. The more confident with it you become, the more comfortable you become.
Good stuff. Good answer. So hopefully that helps, Hayley from Gracemere. If there are others who are listening to this, you've got a question you want to ask, you can send it in via email using the email links that are on our website, or have a look at any of the social media and post your question there. We'll be able to look through them and answer them in this segment next time around. So thanks for answering that, Emily. Let's really dive into some meat as we do one of our serious topics we call Top 3.
3, 2, 1.
Top 3.
All right, so we're talking top 3, and today we are talking the top 3 essential character traits of a leader. Ronan, what do you reckon number 1 is?
Okay, there's a heap of character traits of a leader, like so many. But for number 1, or the first one we'll go through, we like to call it confidence with humility. And that might seem weird, like I'm saying 2 different ones, confidence and humility. I think it's actually important that people realize they go hand in hand. Because it's easy to point to someone that's super confident and they're an expressive person and to say that that person is a leader because of that character trait of being just confident. But it's so important that that person themselves has a level of humility where they realize I can't do everything on my own. I need good people to contribute their skills and abilities as well. Or sometimes I'm going to fail, and that's just a normal part of life and leadership. So I think it's so important that every leader has confidence, but hand in hand goes with humility, realizing we cannot all do everything.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. The one that I thought, number 2, is reliability. I think it's really important to be consistent and meet any expectations there are of you and to continue just working on being a trustworthy person. One of my favorite examples of this is quite funny. It's in the movie Smallfoot.
Love Smallfoot.
It's amazing.
Yep.
There's this character, Migo, and
you're talking the animated Smallfoot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep talking.
The main character, Migo, and his something his dad does is every day it's his job in the town to get up and essentially wake up the sun by hitting this
wake
gong.
up the sun, as in the sun that provides light to the world. Yeah, not like his young son. Like
no, yes, true.
Like
the sun in the sky.
Bring the sun into the sky.
I think it's a snail, a glowing
snail
in the land of Smallfoot. Anyway, his job is to be slingshot and to hit this gong. It's quite comical. That provides light for the town for the whole day, and he has to be so reliable with that every single day. Like, can you imagine if the sun didn't come up one morning?
Yeah, I must admit I don't like even having to be waking up myself, let alone be responsible for waking up the sun or wake up everybody else.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's reliability.
Yeah, it's quite funny, but it is a great example of reliable. He has to do that every single day, and it's the same for all of us as leaders. If we want to have good leadership character, we need to be reliable. Those things that might become routine or nitty-gritty tasks, we need to make sure that we're still reliable in those areas.
Okay, and third essential character trait of a leader, going to talk about empathy. Now, it's a word I think a lot of people have used and heard out there, but being empathetic and showing empathy is a whole nother level from just understanding it. And that's when someone decides as a leader to really understand what it's like to be in the shoes and the viewpoint of the people that they're serving. And I think it's easy as student leaders to get excited about ideas, but not put yourself in the shoes of the people whom you're there to represent. We've been sharing a story at the GRIP Student Leadership Conference recently about two girls, one whose name is Ariel and one's Sophia. Sophia's a refugee from Syria to Australia, and Ariel was asked by the school to sort of take Sophia under her wing. But instead of just saying like, oh yeah, okay, she can sit with me and we'll just leave it at that, Ariel has like taken time to understand the Syrian crisis and what life is like there, to eat the food that a refugee in a refugee camp would often eat, to understand what a migration process, to a country can be like. And that's what I mean by empathy, is to say, I want to fully understand what it's like to be that person. Then I'll find that'll help me to be able to focus on them and their needs. So it's easy as leaders to be so excited about big stuff and forget about empathy. So definitely an important character trait. So there you go, top 3.
So there you have it, our top 3 essential character traits.
I think it was a pretty top 3.
Yep.
It was top 3.
Top 3 of a leader. Thanks so much for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Student Leadership News podcast. I have as well. If you want to listen to more, there is heaps more podcasts and articles you can read on our website, studentleadership.news. But we look forward to the next time you join us.
Thanks for listening to the Student Leadership News Podcast. Interact with us on social media and follow the news online at studentleadership.news.